This show is sponsored by Mighty Capital, the go-to venture capital firm for product-first companies like Airbnb and Amplitude. Learn why they are dubbed the best value for the dollar invested at mighty.capital. I'm SC Moadi, founder and chair of Products That Count, a 501c3 nonprofit engaging over 500,000 product managers. Our mission is simple: help you build great products through groundbreaking research, prestigious awards, and top-notch programming like this award-winning Top 1% podcast. Whether you're aiming to boost your career or turn your product team into a competitive advantage, this is your gateway. Visit productsthatcount.org and begin your product leadership journey. This particular series is hosted by one of the first chief product officers in the world, Renee Niemi, and each episode is a masterclass in product leadership. Renee, over to you.
Hello, today I have with me Smita Hashim. She is the Chief Product Officer of Zoom. You know, that tool that got us all through the pandemic and then some. First of all, Smita, it's so great to see you. Been really looking forward to catching up with you. I just want to start by saying congratulations on being selected as one of the best CPOs of 2024.
Thank you, Renee. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here. I am looking forward to our discussion.
Yes, awesome. I as well. Before we dive in, why don't we start by, in 60 seconds or less, why don't you give us a quick introduction to yourself? Tell us a little bit about your story, the role you play at Zoom, and the products, although I think most of us know, but go ahead and tell us, the mission and vision of Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely, Renee. So my story is I'm a longtime product manager with a background in research and strategy. I actually have a PhD in video communications. So Zoom is an amazing company for me. I love product management. I love flexible work, and it's been a journey. I worked on a variety of products, but coming to Zoom feels like literally it's the highlight of my career. Zoom did get all of us through the pandemic. It is an amazing, it's an amazing application, and it's also an application which we have been expanding from video to phone to chat to whiteboards to contact centers. So we feel like everyone should be able to work in flexible ways using best of breed products which are infused with AI and AI powered. That's the mission Zoom has been on. And what I really loved about Zoom was, at Zoom, we believe flexible work is for everyone. It is for employees, it's for your support agents, it's for your marketing team and your customers, it's for your sales team. And we really want to enable the entire, we want to enable everyone with these great like collaboration, productivity, flexible work tools, which make them. Zoom's motto used to be happy, meet happy, work happy. That's really where we want to take our customers.
Yeah, well, that obviously is a great mission and is a great service for many of us who are customers. So thank you for that. Guess you mentioned you had your doctorate in video. You and I have known each other for a long time. I had no idea. So how amazing is that? Our careers have, are respective of kind of our journeys. And I think there's a big piece of our souls as product leaders that were defined as we worked on individual products, right? Because we are, passionate product people. Was there any one product that you happened to work on that you believe was particularly defining and high impact, who really led you to be this, the success or the launch pad to the career you've had?
It's a great question, Renee. From my point of view, I think product management careers are built over a variety of products. So when I look at my journey, I have worked on products which are very user experience focused, very metrics focused. I used to be on Google AdWords. you know, I worked with products which span a lot of partners. You and I worked together on a product like that together. Remember the days building out all of the Chrome operating system? But
Yes,
for
we
me, my
did.
it was a lot of fun. So I feel like all of these experiences together then help you see the bigger picture. And sometimes hindsight is 2020, but I encourage a lot of diversity of experiences. But the products which I absolutely work, I really love flexible work. And I might be one of the few people in the world who has worked on Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and now it's Zoom. So I think this really, like, COVID was a difficult time, but the gift was flexible work. I've always believed in flexible work for a very long time, but I feel like it's normalized now, and there's a lot more acceptance, and people have found new ways to work, which helps us have better lives, more access to more talent. So, so those are the products which I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's very few people in their careers who's had the ability to. I mean, if there were three, big players in the market, Google, Microsoft, and Zoom would be the players. Ironically, you started at the biggest company and probably the smallest market share, went to the second biggest company and the second biggest market share, and then the smallest of three, and has probably the largest footprint. And it's just amazing that you've been able to, you just have such a unique perspective there. When you kind of think about, again, your journey to where you are today, how, and I can speak for myself when I say that I know that I've had so many influences. Some have been people I've known and frankly adopted as mentors. And then there are people who have influenced me that I never knew, but was just admired from afar. I would love to know your story on who has influenced you and your work and your career, and how does that impact your day to day?
Yeah, absolutely, Renee. I think mentors, people who we can look up to, they are a gift in our lives. And when, something momentous happens there, I think it's really transformational. So for me, the one person I always like to call out is Susan Wojcicki. Susan was almost a founder of Google. She was eventually the CEO of YouTube, and she was my first manager at Google. Before Susan, I had been in tech for some time. I mean, I had studied a lot, I worked at great companies, but I really struggled to find a role model as a woman in technology who I could relate to and I could feel comfortable with, and I felt like it would put me on a path to success. And then I went to Google, and luckily enough, Susan was my manager. And here was a woman, she was amazingly empathetic, she was kind, she was soft spoken, but she got things done. She had a big vision. She could give you feedback in ways that you could really accept it and push you to get to the next level. She would share her own personal stories to teach you. So for me, the person who really put me on this path of being comfortable and finding my voice, I think that is really important. To me, I would say Susan was amazing. She was the one person who did that, but she's not the only one. I mean, I have been helped and touched by so many more people across the course of my career. So I feel very blessed in all the help that I've had. And I hope, like you and I, we should be providing help to others too at this stage.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this community, our job is to lift up others around us. Honestly, there aren't a lot of people who can say that Susan Wojcicki was their mentor. So tell me how, like, through that process, how has that impact you today? Are there any rituals, things that you do, things that you spend time with either as a leader or as an individual that has stuck with you through that impact?
Yeah, I feel like a few things. First of all, what I really appreciated about Susan was she was she genuinely cared for the people around her, but she was also could give very candid feedback. in a very grounded and empathetic way. She could say that, you are being too risk averse over here. Here is an example when I was risk averse and what it costed us as a company, right? That is one example of it. The other part, which I think she was amazing at, was she would, and that's something I keep with me. She would say, for example, if you're working with partners, if you are, especially like I think any significant product has a large ecosystem, she would be, are the incentives aligned? Will our businesses grow together? Because that's what we want to look for, because at that point it's a relationship that will work and will keep moving forward. So she really and forced us as people on her team to think through those aspects of it. The other thing which she was is she was a big fan of learning. She would say, if we are not doing something, we are not learning. And it's really important to get out and learn, even if it's things are not successful. And some things do not have to be successful. That's just the nature of the work we do. So I think some of all of those aspects for me come into play for her. The other part which she was very good at, I mean, this was AdWords, so there were a lot of metrics, but also what is the strategy, like, and you can change the strategy. It's not a matter of not, but not having a strategy is a problem. So it's like, go out there, learn, iterate, evolve fast, and make sure you bring your team and your partners along with you.
Right, right. Having that guiding light, those goalposts, even if you have to change where they're located on occasion, I think that's really smart. So when you kind of look at all these collective experiences, your first product, your mentor, and now all of those who have touched you between the beginning and now, what superpowers have you developed? Like, what would you think? What would you say is your one or two highest impact superpower?
If I were to say, I think a couple of things. First of all, I I love it, so it's no chore for me. Is I really genuinely like people. I mean, it makes me very happy when I see people around me becoming successful. I'm I very much adhere to this rule, Renee, that my teams, when they come and talk to me, I would say, let's focus on not what we can improve, but if you feel like there's a challenge with another team, let's make sure it's a joint conversation with them. Let's not have one-sided conversation, because I know they're working hard. I know they're busy. I know they're good people. Let us, how do all of us work together to move forward? I feel like that honestly really serves well, because you develop really good relationships, you develop trust. And I think that trust goes a long way in tackling big challenges and moving forward with them. So that to me is one thing. The other part is, I feel like in my mind, and my teams used to sometimes say, Smita's tagline is, how do we take it to the next level? So I really want to know, how do we take it to the next level? And and I talk about that to the teams. We talk about it in conversations. We kind of like brainstorm. So we are pushing ourselves to do more. And I think that's really what we are looking for. So those are some of the things, but but the journey does get tough at times. So I think there you lean into your mentors and stay true to yourself. Those are some of the things which I try to stay grounded in.
Yeah, yeah. So true to that. As you're kind of um, walking through this, I'm thinking to myself, how important people really are, and hearing that your superpower is the fact that you genuinely love people is really, you know I think it's right in the sweet spot. I guess my question for you is there a way for you to kind of bring it to life, like how would that make you, differentiate yourself as a leader, if you will, by leveraging that? Like, how does that manifest itself? Are there rituals or best practices that you bring to the table that really leverage that superpower?
Yeah, I feel like the way. So I mean, maybe just starting from, if I start something new, or if I make sure that I get to know people first. And the first time we talk, we have our one-on-one, I really want to just focus, like share more about myself, learn more about them as a person. I know there'll be plenty of opportunity to work together, but really establishing that connection. The other part, which I also try to do, is I have some rituals, which as a team we establish around creating plans, but also sharing them, inviting conversations, making sure that they're truly cross functional teams that are set up. Because you need, like, I mean, it takes a village to build a product. So, but you need to kind of bring the stakeholders to the table and bring them along and make them look good. So it's really, as product managers, we win when our products win. But but our products win when the entire cross-functional team feels like it is their success, and really inviting that kind of ideas and collaboration from everyone. So that is another example. It manifests itself. Maybe the third one, which I alluded to earlier, and to me this is the most important part, is developing a culture of empathy and shared understanding of
Mm.
the roles of people around you, by really saying that, I mean, it gets busy and people might show up and say, well, I want this from this team, I want this from, and then I think what I tell them is go and understand what's happening in their world and figure out how we can help them so they can make room for the kind of things that we want. So I think those things really unlock a lot of they unlock a lot of like helpful collaboration and shared understanding, which then keeps putting us on this path, which moves us forward collectively as a business.
You mentioned empathy, and I think that empathy internally is important, but I have to imagine emphasizing that empathy, because at the end of the day, it's people using our products as well. And does that translate to customer empathy? Like, how do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, right. Like, both you and I have been in the enterprise business, where I feel like something which is amazing is we get to talk to our customers a lot,
Yeah.
right? And one thing, if I can just share about Zoom's value is to care for its customers. It's really a company grounded in customer care, and the company and our CEO is Eric Wan, really manifests that value. I have had the pleasure of meeting many of our customers in different countries, and you can just see how Zoom helped them through, bringing hundreds of thousands of employees, in some cases online, in a matter of few days, working day and night in ways that was secure, it was compliant. So, but Zoom really has so much customer love. I feel very, very grateful to be here. And I think that comes from this empathy and shared understanding of what the customer is trying to achieve, and then working with them to help them achieve that. Most of these customers, almost all, like all of these customers, are great partners, and they help us make the product better. So the empathy is really what comes through when I talk to customers. They tell us we love working with Zoom because Zoom moves fast, it listens to us, it's very responsive. I also think that's a superpower as a company.
Yeah, amazing. Well, that's a great transition, because you're clearly passionate about customers. I'd love to hear a story. What would you consider to be the most insightful, impactful, game changing customer meeting you've ever had, or maybe just interesting? That too.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I feel like actually, s frankly, like there's just so many of them. It is hard to
Of
pick
course.
one, but I will call out one customer meeting. Um, it was a government agency in a European market, can't really name them, and and they were looking at our contact center product, and they were using Zoom for meetings and phone, and they loved the experience that Zoom provided, and they really wanted to bring that experience to their general citizens when they worked with them on providing them services. So just to sit in that very traditional office with this customer who is, and just to hear how much passion they had for their users, and their customers, and to bring them that modern omni-channel connected anyway kind of experiences. It was this beautiful like aha moment for me, which was amazing. So so this is an example. I mean, so many, talking to universities and just seeing how beautifully they have set up Zoom so that they can really engage with remote students in ways that is super engaging, and they can make eye contact and how passionate they are about it. I meet customers all the time, and I'm so grateful when I talk to them, because it makes me even more grateful to be at Zoom, but then I learn from them on how I can really continue to evolve the product and make it better.
Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah, when your customer is passionate about their customer, magic happens, doesn't it?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we talk to our customers, we have customer advisory councils, we get such fantastic customers, Renee, and they really come with this point of view of how can we be helpful to Zoom? They give us really good blunt feedback, but they also show up so with that mindset, which is truly a gift for us.
Yeah, fantastic. So, one of the things that as product leaders that we have, and I say joy in air quotes, but we have the pleasure of leading is the team through kind of identifying new product opportunities and making sure that we're setting priorities correctly. Like, what could you share with us that would be helpful on how you go about deciding, what to do, and probably equally, and if not more important, what not to do from a product capabilities point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's going to vary depending on the stage of your product. I mean, it's different when you're launching a brand new product, or or many of us, we are working on products and expanding the product portfolio or expanding the capabilities of the product. So I feel like the way I like to think about it is that you want to think about really understand your customers and their needs, and how you can continue to solve for their needs in ways that's differentiated and delightful. So to me, that is your, you start thinking about from a really like customer or user first point of view. But then the things that come into play for me is also sometimes like technology moves a lot, and we are seeing that right now, and that poses opportunities which I would say is the customer didn't even ask for it, but the tech stack moved to that point, and you say, I want to be at the forefront of it. So, so you have where you want to take the customers, you look at where the tech stack is going. You are also looking at the feedback that's coming in from customers. At Zoom, we have a very full roadmap, but we evolve it a lot based on customer feedback. What's the point of having a roadmap if you can't respond to your customers?
That's
So you
right.
bring those into play. And I do think as product managers and working for companies with we have shareholders, and we have that fiduciary responsibility to also think about how will these impact the business. Your own customer happiness is a big part of it, but you do have to think through that. I mean, I do believe the product market fit has to come first. You go into bigger size TAMs, addressable markets, you look at the product market fit, and then you scale it. But I do think as product managers we should keep that in mind.
Yeah. There's so many different lenses to look through priorities, right? One of the lenses that, I used to try to apply, which was, kind of the easy to do, must do, quick hits versus the, okay, slightly differentiated, a little bit harder to do, and then the truly innovative. And inevitably, there's always pressure, from the innovative back, right?
Yeah.
It's always easy to get those obvious things done. How do you think about things strategically and making sure that you're making investments not only for the short term but the long term as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is really important, because yes, I mean, we have to evolve, right? And we have to, it's the wave has to also keep expanding. It's not, it's not just the things which you are doing in the moment. So I think I would say I actually love annual or even the multi-year planning process. Again, I think of plans as a reference point. I don't think of plans as an end in itself, because I like that bigger thinking of where we think we can take these things, so they are truly going to be something which is very different over time, or in a much different place than where we are at. So across my products, across the product portfolio, even we that conversation is a really important conversation to have and to make time for it. The other thing which I will give you, which is and once you have that conversation and you put that in paper, then I think things start emerging from that, because you have thought about it. So you do need to have some North Star which you are thinking about. The other part which I talk about is like, and this is a fun word, one of my earlier teams is like, what is your jaw-dropping feature? So do you have any jaw droppers which you are introducing? Because we should be thinking about it. So you bring that mix of some fun and some from that perspective and a North Star, and you make progress towards that. I think that's really the ones which keep us moving, keep us help us keep the bigger picture even as we work on the day-to-day things.
Yeah, I love that. Um, clearly you've established, some underlying principles. You have a clear culture. It comes through. That's very kind of almost people centric and empathy centric, which I love. Do you have any, I'm going to say, best practices or processes that you really think have made a huge difference? And they could be, either best practice, a process, or maybe even a ritual. Can be small, it can be big, but something that just really, has a high impact for you and your teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, so some of the things which I believe in, I do believe in planning. So I do believe in a planning cycle, an annual, quarterly, 6 months. I feel like that's an important ritual for product teams to have. I think connected product teams and connections with each other matter. I am very particular about, having a weekly time for the team and making sure, because it just takes time to build that trust, to have that level of conversation, to stay engaged. So that is really important to me. With the larger teams, I make sure again that we are meeting on like maybe a monthly all hands. That's something which I always do. I also try to do things like office hours, which I keep, so I try to protect some of my time, and it's available. You can use Zoom scheduler to set those up as well. So we have those. And then I do like to be metrics driven. So I want to make sure that we have foundational metrics and we are looking at it. So to me, all of these are some of the rituals which I feel like are foundational. Then of course you have to engage with your customers and you have to talk to them, and you are listening to the user feedback. But these are some of the rituals which I try to bring to every place I come to. Maybe one tip which I would say, this is not so much a ritual, but it is, as your teams become bigger, I feel like it's good to have people who own a specific product or an area which is cohesive, because then they can think of a bigger strategy for that area, and you can bring that scale and that passion which you need as the product portfolio extends. So I do spend time on making sure that we are set up in ways that it's strategic for the team members as well.
I think it's so important that leaders, to your point, really think through not just how their teams are organized, but how responsibilities have both breadth and depth, so that they can control more of the portfolio, if you will, for their products, and can drive that. So I really like the way you think about that. I think it's super important. I know I used to spend a very big portion of my time constantly making sure that we were structured in a way that was maximizing productivity and impact by the team. So I really love this. Unfortunately, we are just about out of time. I can't believe how quickly it's gone, but I can't stop without asking you the big question. 2024 product management would not happen without having at least one question on AI. Specifically, I would love to understand your viewpoint on the impact of AI and the role of product management. Like how is it helping today? And if you have thoughts, how do you think that might evolve over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, I mean, we are living in such transformational times. Renee, when I think about my role working in this kind of like rapidly evolving world of work and how we all work with each other, but also with generative AI really just transforming the set of opportunities that are available for all of us to think about how we can help our customers in different and unique ways. I feel like it's an incredible time. I've worked for a long time. I've never been through a time like this, so it really feels very special. I would say as product managers, and this is true of all of my products which I work on, I feel like every product needs to think through what is their AI strategy, and and they need to like make this a part of their foundational thinking. They have to stay current with what is happening in the market. I recommend really focusing on delivering value to the customers. I mean, from a Zoom point of view, we have taken a different approach. Our generative AI assistant, hopefully you've run into that, is Zoom AI Companion, and we included it at no additional cost. So I also think as technology vendors, as the state of technology evolves, we as people who are providers of the technology have to bring that additional value to our customers, even to earn their business. Like, that's the world has moved. So every product managers, my product managers, all of them are thinking about what they're doing in terms of AI and providing great experiences. And the other thing which you want to make sure is cut through the hype and make it real. Like you can talk a big talk, but cut through the hype and make it real so that customers can really get the value out of it. Do it very thoughtfully, be very responsible. But those are some of that's the advice I give to my product managers, and I will give to other product managers as well who are listening.
Excellent. Now, so that makes a ton of sense. Make them responsible for their own strategies, and with my words, but I think underscore what you were saying, that you don't leave fundamental principles behind. You have to continue to innovate, but the speed in which you innovate and the how may have changed. How do you think about the actual role of product management? Is it, is AI going to actually replace product managers at some point in the future?
So here is the thing. I actually feel like I love product management. I feel like AI can give superpowers to a lot of us, but the role of creativity, collaboration, like intrinsic inquiry and curiosity, which are all of the things that are foundational to building great products. To me, they're inherently human traits. So I feel like great product managers, are going to continue to be in high demand, and they'll continue to build great products and put them out there, but maybe they will be able to do them while AI is helping them save time and be more creative and focus more on collaboration so they can do better work.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I 100% agree. Product management's art and science, right? And how you navigate the two of those, you know, requires intuition. And for now, anyway, AI hasn't figured out intuition.
Yeah.
I don't know about the long term, though. We'll see.
We'll see. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, Smita, it's been so much fun having this conversation with you. I've really enjoyed it. And once again, congratulations on being a finalist for our top CPO of 2024.
Thank you so much, Renee. Pleasure as always.
This is SC Moadi again, founder and chair of Products That Count. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on your favorite platform, including Spotify and Apple. And please check out our other resources at productsthatcount.org. They're designed to accelerate your product career and make product the most important function in business. Until soon.